Hi everyone, this is Diana from Sweet and Savory, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make the best meatloaf with an amazing sweet and tangy sauce that's going to become your family's favorite. I'm going to leave you the recipe in the info box below, but you can also find it at sweetysalado.com/en. To make this recipe, we're going to cook the onion and garlic first to get rid of that strong flavor. So we're going to heat some oil over medium heat. We're going to add chopped onion and we're going to cook this for about 3 minutes or until tender. Now we're going to add chopped garlic and we're going to cook this for another minute. After that, we're going to remove it from the heat and we're going to let it cool completely. For the beef, we're going to be using 85 to 90% lean ground beef because we're going to be baking it in a loaf pan. If you want to bake it on a baking sheet, you can use 80-20 ground beef because it has a higher fat content. To the beef, we're going to add our cooked onion and garlic. We're also going to be adding a couple of large eggs. This is going to help bind all of those ingredients. For flavor, we're going to add a little bit of ketchup. We're also going to be adding Italian seasoning. You can use oregano or basil. Fresh parsley, which is fantastic for this recipe. And breadcrumbs. I love using Italian breadcrumbs, but you can also use plain breadcrumbs, panko, or crumbled Ritz crackers. We're going to season with salt and pepper to taste. And then finally, we're going to add milk for moisture and flavor. And we're going to start mixing all of these ingredients. Now, we are not going to overmix the ground beef because when you overmix, you're going to end up with a very dense and dry meatloaf, and we don't want any of that. Once we mix everything well, we're going to place the beef inside a loaf pan. And the reason we're using a loaf pan is because that's what's going to keep the moisture inside the meatloaf. We're going to cover it with parchment paper because that's what's going to make it easy for us to remove the meatloaf once it's baked. And as you can see, I'm using a couple of paper clips to hold it in place. We're going to place the beef in the loaf pan and then we're going to gently push it down to make it flat and even. Now we're going to make our sweet and tangy sauce, and for that we're going to need ketchup and we're going to add a little bit of brown sugar. We're also going to add garlic powder and onion powder, season it with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then add a tiny bit of apple cider vinegar. Give it a really good stir. And then we're going to spread it on top of the ground beef. I do this from the very beginning. Some people like to do this when there's only 10 minutes left of baking so that they can cover any cracks in the meatloaf. Either way, it's fine. We're going to bake it at 375 degrees for about 55 minutes to 1 hour, or until it reaches an internal temperature of about 160 degrees. After that, we're going to take it out of the oven and we're going to let it rest for about 10 minutes before slicing and serving. And that's how you make the best classic meatloaf.